I'm gonna be waiting for a couple people to show up before I actually start digging into this thing. Oh, Crash is here. That's enough. Crash at least can yap alongside me. So, essentially, about a week or so ago, we got this fancy dandy launch edition trailer that had a whole bunch of recycled information. We had stuff, you know, the same graphics we had before, the same information about what comes in the bundle. Everything that we put out as, you know, promotional videos. I made one myself for this. Everyone's launch edition is getting upgraded to rather collector's issue get upgraded to launch edition. You know, you get builder's parts, you get fancy stuff. They showed off the recirculation type Gundam a little bit. What's interesting though is there's a little bit of a stretch in the middle, about like 10 seconds, where somebody goes through. Yeah, that's at 25% speed. That sounds like shit. We're not gonna put the volume on that. Somebody goes through and equips a bunch of different parts. And on the surface level, a few keen-eyed people managed to find a couple new kits they have not announced in here. There is some poor intern who collected this footage, who did not realize he was hitting way too many buttons, and ended up going too far up and too far down, so we ended up seeing a couple things like Chaos and Gaia. Well, not Gaia, but Chaos and Abyss specifically, as unlockables, as well as Hyperion's weapon. But there's a bunch of other stuff we did not know about that's actually in this trailer too. Like this screen alone, this first second of content has a wild amount of information that we just did not have in the closed network test. See if I can get a slight little frame of it right there. So we don't know what version of the game it's going to be at. Let's say that right now, at least. I'm a cloud. We don't know if this is a finished build. We don't know if this is just another state of beta. But this is something new that we haven't had. In the closed network test, there were no passive skills on any parts. Nothing, not even unique skills. They just worked as they did whatever stat they had, and that was it. These are loaded. Every single part we look at here has like a dozen goddamn skills on it. And while it isn't a whole lot of effect or effective percentage, it at least shows us the kind of stuff we might get in the game. And there's some other tidbits in here that are actually super interesting. On this frame 1 for this recirculation head alone, drop rate, something we can buff ourselves. Not only the rarity and quality, but the actual rate itself and the quantity dropped. The fact that it's quantity leads me to think that outside of individual parts, since I don't see like boosting that up to dump a bunch of dupes of the same armor or something, we are going to see the return of upgrade materials like plastics. Way back in GB3, I say way back, even though it was half a decade ago, you could use various qualities and grades of plastic. Yeah, I said quality. What do you think I say? Drop rate is what I'm referring to about like how often you get them. Various grades of plastics that you could use to feed into a part and upgrade its XP to raise its level. And I feel like that drop rate might help feed it. Okay, you caught me. I totally thought it said quantity. I'm trying to talk my way out of this one, but I'm sitting pretty far away from the screen, and you absolutely caught me on that. Like, I'm going along here, and I don't have a good way to talk out of this. Like, I can't get out of this one. So I guess it's quality, just quality twice. So it's rate and quality as a combined skill, and then rate and quality separate? Do you suppose that means a stack? I mean, they have to, or else why bother having on the same part drop rate and drop rate slash quality? Yeah, it's weird. Max duration hit combo, that speaks for itself. There's two new mechanics going on in the hit combo and the break combo gauges. As you acquire hit combo, it builds up to a certain tier, 1 through 7 or 1 through 8, I believe. And that will stick around for an extended period of time to give you passive buffs, depending on how high your hit combo goes. Hit combo, of course, speaks for itself. Duration, it means that bar is going to drain slower, so you can build it back up with more combo moves. Break combo, same thing. It's going to increase the duration of the break combo maintaining. Maybe before the bar drains, or how fast the bar drains. Either way, break combo was draining a hell of a lot faster than hit combo back in the beta. But break combo seemed to be a lot more effective as far as its effects go. They did a lot more. The final stream I did break down what each one is. I threw it up on Google Translate, and I explained step by step what each level break combo, each level hit combo gets you. Excuse me. Recovery Speed Rescue. That one I'm going to assume is picking up an ally off the ground. When they're downed, before they're actually destroyed, they have a state that you can walk over and pick them up. The fact that it's not... The fact there's actually a stat tied to its speed is making me think that this is not going to be like an instant up like it was in 3, but you'll have to build some kind of bar to actually get them up. Maybe not dissimilar to Battle Alliance. You know, like, you have to get over to the guy and then sit there undisturbed for a couple seconds before you can finally get him up. I know a lot of strategy in Battle Alliance is trying to distract a boss so that an ally or yourself can pick another ally up. Time reduction charge. What the fuck is that? Interestingly enough, it's the only negative percent we see on here. I can't really guess what that might be. Like, what the hell's time reduction? And why would it be a minus? I understand the duration of break combo lasting is a positive because you're extending that state. Could time... Maybe time reduction might be related? Maybe time reduction is how fast that bar is draining? That seems like a really weird way to say it, though. I know I'm feeling super lucky this is all translated. Because if I had to hold up my phone for this shit, I'd be miserable. So putting aside time reduction, whatever that happens to be, near death, remaining HP percent. I'm almost positive, like with a bullet, that's going to be what threshold of HP it treats a near-death state at, and that means there will be passives or traits or something that kick in or are affected by you being in a near-death state. So this part in particular will help you manipulate that to make sure that it is 10% or lower, while normally it might start at a much, much lower threshold. Little G. Griffith, congrats again. Every time you're in here lately, you're talking about your nephew. Or niece, whichever it's gonna be. But let me know when it pops out. Happy to see you. Awaken Gauge increase. Now what the fuck is that? We know we had an EX gauge. We know we had an option gauge. Is Awakening the Breaker 3 Awakening state like we used to have? Where you would build that big bar in the middle up from hitting enemies or such, and once you activate it, you become the glowy red form. You have yourself boosted stats, passive regeneration, a bunch of other stuff depending on what form you chose in the setup, and then you could burn the rest of your bar to conduct a big super move. Some of the bigger EX skills in the game, like Shining Finger Sword or Full Burst, used to be slave to that bar. This is more or less confirmation it's coming back, so that's cool. Like, holy shit, that's really nice to know that it's coming back in a similar manner, and that there's just so many ways we can boost it. Enemy defeated. When parts lost, that's interesting. When taking damage, over time, and hit number. Hit number makes sense. You know, when you hit a certain hit number, I guess, when your number of hits for your hit combo gets high enough, you get an awaken gauge. What is overtime? Why are we talking about time? I don't remember any kind of time mechanic in the closed network test. Also, yeah, yo, Sai, absolutely. Mahara is super butthurt over the awakening system not choosing him. It's part of a big setup for a chapter in Breaker Mobile too. That all the second string loser kids go to the Ayato arcade to, you know, get their mojo back. They meet Mr. Gunpla. And while they're on the street, Mahara himself shows up to try to beat down Mr. Gunpla to try to find a way to beat the awakening system. Since Mr. Gunpla is one of the only other people in the world that can use it. Besides, you know, that guy he really, really hates. Yeah, what is over time? What is this big focus on time that we're seeing? Maybe there's going to be some more in here that can give us ideas, but that's super interesting. So we're going to try to advance this a tiny bit since we've exhausted pretty much all we see. Just putting it out there, noting this is a 3-star part, level 23. We don't see any stats or anything, so those are farther up on this bar, which I guess Intern Kun did not hit. Or maybe on purpose this was down like this so he could try to hide information. I'm going to advance that 1 or 2 frames at a time. Oh! Where was that? Was that him hitting that guy? Bingo! Double O head, show us some more shit. Recover, receives, rescue. Yeah, okay. So, right off the bat here, the Double O head has a near-death remaining of 15%. So that's probably absolutely what that skill does, is you can change the threshold for what counts as near-death. I guess Double O is just cooler than Green Grandpa. Recovery speed's there again, max duration's there again. This is a 2-star part, but these values are actually higher than recirculation. I don't know if that's just because these are placeholder numbers, or because recirculation is supposed to be a bit gimped on stuff for being a freebie part. It feels kind of placeholder the way these are. Unless this is some kind of intentional system where you start with a bunch of low percent, no impact bullshit, and then you can choose to feed them specifically to raise them up. Maybe. Who knows? Thruster gauge consumption boost. That makes sense. Parts loss defense. Interesting. So when your parts are out, you have higher defense. Flinch damage defense. I assume that's flinch gauge capacity. That feels new. We didn't have that in the network test. Is that literally how much cumulative damage you take before you flinch? We'll have a gauge for that? Apparently, since it can recover, because it has a recovery speed stat. Ooh, damn, that's interesting. Hey, someone's writing this down, right? I bet Crashman is. He's a cool guy. You can jot down all their findings and put them in a nice, convenient graphical format for the Smooth Brains. I was just thinking that, Crash. If this gauge is invisible, but if it is, what's the point of capacity and recovery speed stats if you can't even see how they're affected? Like, I understand they'll still have function, but that just seems like real shitty that you can't see the actual effect of the skill. Also, Crash, share this everywhere. Shell the shit out of it. Awoken gauge increase when enemies defeated, parts lost, damage, overtime, hit number. We saw those before. Still don't know what overtime is. But that shit's fascinating. Let's do one more quick frame, because I know an act guy's coming up. Ah, fuck. Okay, no. Ball, you're cool, but I want to go back to act guy. Oh, we caught Dom. Let's check it while we're here. So, Dom also has that drop rate and quality combination with rate and quality separate. Hit combo, break combo, rescue speed, remaining percent. Nothing really new, except we actually have an empty slot here, which is kind of interesting. And no extra abilities on the part itself. That guy. This looks almost identical to Double O Head. So these are probably some placeholder spreads. I can't see these parts having such a similar setup on it. But still, information's information. I want to see Ball. Show me Ball, coward. Oh, this is the menu I want to catch as well. This one's going to make Crashman very happy, because I know there has been a huge debate about how leveling is going to work, and I believe this actually gives us a big hint. So you select a part, you have various options. 3 of these options were present in the beta. Equip, equip with default colors, and label. What is different about equip and equip with default colors is simple. I displayed this in one of the last little clips I took my stream and put on my channel. If you have a custom paint equipped on a unit, you have the default option to whatever new part you're equipping, match that paint scheme. Now it's going to match zone to zone, so you might have to change some zones around if it's a vastly differently mapped part. Or you can choose to equip it with the default color. The fact that you don't have to back out to another fucking menu to go back into the paint booth to spray another set of legs that you just swapped out on a whim, like I had to all the time at Breaker 3, phenomenal. Equipping with default's cool as well, just being able to slap it on its base color and deal with it like that. The label function was also in closed network test. You just put a tab colored on any part, and then you can sort by those tabs to make life easier. Yeah, Potemkin, that's super cool. I love it. But the part that's really going to get people excited is right there in the middle. Synthesize and derivation synthesis. I don't know what the hell those are, but Breaker 3, Broken Record, had a series of different functions called merge. There was various ways, in fact, that you could merge parts together to strengthen them. There was a basic merge, that you take one base part, and then a second part to feed it, you shove that shit in, and it absorbs the XP from it, probably not full, and you also have the opportunity to pass on certain stats. Not stats, sorry, certain traits. So you feed lower level parts to a better part to beef it up, and kind of mix and match what you want to have the trait line on. There was plastic merge, material merge, which is instead of using other parts to feed a part, you use plastic, you use XP items to shove it in to either raise its overall rank, to raise its level, to raise its level cap, or to add specific abilities if you happen to have those individual items. You'd be able to get little cubes that would add certain affinities or certain traits raw to a part, so you wouldn't have to hunt down another part with it and feed it. And then there was derive merge. something that my good buddy Crashman has not shut up about a lot. You would take a base part, and then depending on if there's routes to it, not every part... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Potemkin, you're right on that one. You take a part, and not every part can do this, but parts would have certain almost tech trees, I guess you would call them, that you would be able to feed another specific part to it to unlock. I think I took some example screenshots earlier. I had this blue frame second revise arm that I loaded up on Breaker 3. I used Derive Merge, and I had the option of turning it into either a gold frame Amatsu or an Amatsu Mina arm. Now, if I want to make an Amatsu arm, I could use either a strike arm, a justice arm, or a dual assault shroud arm. And that would not only make that new part out of it, but inherit the traits and passives of the previous parts. If I want to make the Amatsu Mina arm out of it, I would be able to use either a Proto-Zero, an Epion, or an Ultron arm. And the end result would not only have the base, let's call them native passive traits on it, but other traits that you push forward as well. So if I, as a better example here, I'm looking at my screenshots. If Blue Frame Second Revise had a Stray Special Frame, and I wanted to make the Mina arm, and I decided to combine the... or try to make the Amatsu arm, rather, and if I wanted to combine the Blue Frame with the Strike, I could pop out an Amatsu arm that would have a Stray Special Frame and Phase Shift. If I wanted to pop out the Mina arm, and I would use like Proto-Zero, I could then use that same stuff to pop out one with the Stray Special Frame and Zero Frame, plus whatever other skills would pass on from that. I know derivation synthesis is not the exact same terms, but I'm willing to bet it's going to work in a similar way, where we can craft certain parts from recipes. Crash likes to remind me that there's also specific parts that you could make from Derive Merge. I almost said derivation synthesis. There was variants of certain parts that couldn't be unlocked unless you actively use this system to unlock them. A good example I remember is Kabakali with the Shin Guards. I don't think that's going to be the case here, because we actually have a honest system to remove cosmetic greebles off parts, so that should not be necessary to have two different versions again. I know Gushin Rebake Gaming Mode's a big sore thumb in the room about that, but that's a transformation that's different. What this system can do is you can take a Goof arm and remove the spike. You can take a full Armor Thunderbolt backpack and take off the shields. You can take a Kabakali leg and remove the shins. And just hide them. So I don't think it's going to be able to do variants like that, but it should be an interesting way to get new parts using the parts you already have. Mr. J-Hound, there is something interesting coming up. I want to touch on that one. We do actually see some skills later on. Let's see what we get to first, though. I'm just going to move on till we get to another part that we haven't seen. Now here's some interesting extra new skills. This is a 4-star recirculation torso. Cool. Recover HP on attack hit. That's a classic Breaker staple. Recover HP per second. That's cool. So 1% every 10 seconds. The flinch resist is back. Hit combo's back. Near death remaining HP is only 5% on that one. So the only new thing we found is HP recovery, but also some different values. That's interesting. I want to see if there's ever a frame where this Yahoo ends up scrolling up accidentally. Oh, what was that? and giving us some more... Not quite. And giving us more information on top of a part. Age FX, recover HP, HP per second, so nope, this is the same as the other ones. Red frame gun tank, all the same so far. Yeah, but it moves it too far. It's 5 seconds for some reason. That's way too far from what I want to do. But the whole clip's like 10 seconds. Okay, well then why'd you lie to me and tell me the wrong keys? Those would be interesting skills if existed. Oh no, what's happening? Right. Back this dude up a bit, back to the arms. We're into left arms. Interesting that 2-star Gundam is all the way down in the list with no skills on it. Just an oddity. Double Zeta, how you doing? HP recovery when parts lost. Interesting. That's a new one, and that might be a fun little... Oh, hey, look, SD has a fun little red icon. Next to SD, there's Yami Shogun. Ever remembers Yami Shogun from Inferno? Everyone's best friend, Yami Shogun. HP when parts lost is interesting. It might give you a nice little buffer if you build it high enough. You never want your parts to break, but if they do, at least having a nice HP burst when they do would be interesting. There's time reduction again, whatever the hell that means. S Gundam has nothing new. Honestly, HP restore when parts lost is probably a hell of a lot better than defense when parts lost. HP capacity. So a passive trait to just raise your raw HP. Surprisingly not the same as it used to be, where you would just... what was it? Durability increase was the old one? That would just add like 20k, 40k HP or some dumb shit. HP capacity is an interesting way to put it. God has nothing else new that we haven't seen. Hey, Gaffrin. That's a pretty clean looking godleg, not gonna lie. Double O leg looks pretty nice too, actually. Pretty nice models we're getting in this, truth be told. Hi, Gog. Bingo! And here's the jackpot. Intern Kun fucked up. Or maybe this means that backpacks just don't have a bunch of skills, because there's nothing here. There's no bar to scroll down on. If I go forward a couple frames, there's... Yeah, it's just blank. Total... well, actually, we're on the bottom of total specs. So there is probably skills up there. It's just that's a whole separate pane. So base specs on backpack. Apparently backpack is going to be boost speed and HP. The fact that's the only stats listed kind of makes me think that certain parts are going to be responsible for certain stats. Oh man, dude, Foul City Night's fantastic. If you want, I can change to Foul City Day. Make that a little bit easier for you. Let me do a bro a favor. I'll help you wake up here real quick. Good morning, collect your meat. Yeah, so anyway, boost speed and HP. That's it. It's the only thing that seems to raise. That's making me think that certain parts are going to be responsible for certain things. None of these other parts have shown the spec sheet yet, probably because they're trying to hide it. Thruster gauge consumption, step level 2, so when you make a quick step, that's going to reduce the amount of thruster used. Movement speed boost level 2, probably literally how fast you're boosting. And air dodge 1. Same shit as step, but in the air. EX skill, Balina, plasma beam cannon. So we know that's going to be a Jirobi on the back at least. Or it's going to be like F91 where it's a series of bursts, but probably a Jirobi. And burst actions exist, almost guaranteeing that Awakening Gauge is going to work similarly, if not the same as it used to. Full burst, of course, being where it fires every available body-mounted beam weapon, or weapon in general that you have, at the cost of ending your Awakening early. In Breaker 3, it would use everything you had equipped, whether that be a builder's part, Strike Freedom cannon that you put in your forehead, whether it's Fortress 4 cannons off of H3 Fortress, whether it's some, shin guard beam guns that you happen to pop on. It fired everything at once. Burst actions used to be learnable. They used to be something that you could permanently learn after mastery, so you didn't have to have the part on anymore. I don't see any indication that that might be the case here, but we just lack information. Still, this is the cleanest shot of a stat setup that we've had in English so far. Let's see if we can get anything else out of this. Strike Freedom backpack, which has Super Dragoon as the EX skill, and Full Burst. Funnels in the closed network were EXs. I did not hate the idea of it, because the EX gauge is pretty easy to gain and bank, and you can do a bunch of fun stuff with them too. Multiple funnels could be out at the same time. New funnels had different functionality depending if you would tap, hold, or whatever. You could bring them back early and then redeploy them as you needed. You could tap fire to get the new funnels to make the pyramid around yourself, at which point you still had one active attack funnel while the pyramid is protecting you. They were cool. Oh no, Potemkin, I am right with you. I am a absolute skin stan. Skins in Breaker Mobile, of course, being a wonderful cosmetic choice that you could sign whatever parts you own to the skin. They didn't use up the part, just if you own the part, you can make it so your visual look reflects that part. But the downside, the caveat, was your EX skills had to come from the skin. You had to visually reflect what you were using. I know people like the freedom of learning whatever skill they wanted to use on whatever parts they want, back in Breaker 3. I don't like laser beams coming out of my asshole. I don't like missiles appearing in my armpits. I want a missile launcher visible to launch a missile. I want some V2 exhaust in order to use Wings of Light. I want the restraint. I want the framework. You might say I'm trying to squash your freedom. Go nuts. I think it's nice. I think it's good to have that framework to work within, and keeping our builds honest would be a refreshing change. I'm sure the amount of customization you can do is still wacky enough that you can get away with so much bullshit. But I at least want the honesty of the build. I want to look at something and know what it's capable of. There's a certain visual storytelling to that too. Now, hold on a sec. This is Rarity 1, level 18. Freedom is Rarity 2, level 17. So Rarity is really going to be affecting the amount of skills you have, as well as your level cap. But level 17, 1474 boost speed, 12,400 HP. So it's adding 4,400 HP. Move over to Strike Freedom, 1 level higher. It's less HP, but slightly higher boost speed. Even though it's a slightly higher level, you're getting less HP out of this than you would be to Freedom. I see you guys typing down there. I mean, maybe they can bundle Awakenings in the Awakening system. I didn't play around them too much with CNC. I know they were EX skills, but let me do something with that. So 2 possibilities I see on the stat difference. Either there will be individually balanced stats between parts. Different parts are going to have different thresholds of growth. Or there is... Now, that is higher boost speed, right? 1483, 1474, yeah. You're getting more boost speed out of Strike Freedom. It's got to be curated parts. If it was a matter of higher rarity unlocking a passive boost and then higher thresholds, you wouldn't have a better boost speed on Strike Freedom. Now, I bet the rarity is also letting Freedom have 1 extra skill, as opposed to Strike Freedom. But if it's the Breaker 3 route, where all parts have the same max stats in the end, and it's their level and level cap just determines their stat threshold, you wouldn't see it different like this. They gotta have their own values, even if they're slightly different. That's damn interesting. Yo, what do you got on here? Bunch of shit. Movement speed, ground dodge. Okay, so are abilities passives that are unique to the part itself? So Strike Freedom Backpack is not only going to give you a Super Dragoon skill, but thanks to the flavor of Wings of Light, it's also going to give you better boost speed and step speed. And then this shit is just the stuff that you merge onto it? I feel like that's gotta be it. Oh god. I accidentally got us to a, there we go. Accidentally got us to a timestamp. So otherwise, you wouldn't have these 1,800,000 bullshit skills on here. So that is the unique shit that Strike Freedom's coming with in the backpack, at least, is movement speed and movement step. Invulnerability time, ground air dodge. Interesting, we can increase our iframes. That's not terrible. Let's see, air dodge consumption. And then nothing else too much going on. You guys are both using the same bonus stats or bonus skill spread. See if we might get another peek at some other part stats accidentally. Alright, weapon skills. Cool. So this is pretty much confirming every kind of weapon and option part we have available. Thanks, Intern Kun. You messed up good. Long rifle, bazooka, machine gun, Gatling. Long range weapon. I wonder if that's a broader category. Rifle, long rifle, bazooka, machine gun, Gatling. Long range option, Vulcan option, throw option, injection option, barrage option. Now, what do you suppose an injection option is? Now, I happen to make videos of every single option part in the closed network test, of every single kit we had available to us. From Hagog to Akai to the builder's parts to Goof to Jim. I can't think of anything that would be an injection skill? What does it even mean? I mean, I get throw, that's hand grenades. I get Vulcans. I'm actually looking forward to working with them. They seem fantastic. I get barrage. I assume that's like the missile pods. The hell's injection? There's not a lot in the franchise itself that would inject somebody. I mean, even like Goldframe's vampire abilities, I can see that being more of an EX. It's a grab. I don't remember seeing any debuff EXs, though I feel like they would have to be a EX. Because using debuffs on an option gauge just seems super spammable. Fascinating. Injection might be like a funny translation issue with Sniper. Maybe. I know the Sniper skills we did have available were both the X's. Injection. 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 Anyway, what else we got? Oh, this is one other way the intern screwed up. He accidentally hit up and ended up rolling the list all the way back down to the bottom. And we ended up seeing the Zisavava Stigmatas RFW99, the Hyperion gun. So this is how we soft confirmed Hyperions in the game, which is super fascinating because it's not on the list they released. So there's absolutely still hope for new kits outside of that list to be in the initial launch. Or they're showing off DLC early, in which case that guy is definitely fired. Oh, I have no buzzing or anything right now, right? I tested it before the stream, but I just want to make sure my audio is okay. So, someone would have said something now. Rifle, machine gun, bazooka, Vulcan op throw, injection. Handsome 100mm. Handsome giant bazooka. Interesting thing called the Dom bazooka, not the giant bazooka. Left long range weapon, which they're choosing not to equip. Alright, melee weapons. Give me something juicy. Here we go. Great sword. Overall melee. Right close range. Saber. Whip. Lance. Axe. Twin blade. I think that's a pretty conclusive list. Saber, whip, lance, axe, twin blade, great sword. Close range weapon, again, I don't know if that's a general catch-all for a certain group, because, like, aren't they all close range weapons? I mean, I assume melee would be the catch-all. Is close range weapon, like, a module? In which case, if it is, Then what the heck was long-range weapon on the guns? Oh! Oh, could that be for, like, integrated weapons? Could long-range weapon be for stuff like the Akai Bazooka? Because, like, I understand... my thought was long-range weapon attack power would be... Okay, so the super long-range stuff. The long rifle, the bazooka. It does not affect machine gun, pistol, whatever. But in this case, close-range weapon, these are all close-range weapons. Unless melee is a catch-all skill for either hand. Right close-range weapon is specifically for your right hand, left is specifically for your left hand. Much like drop rate, quality, rate, and then separate rate and quality. No claw skill. That does make me a little nervous. Ooh, hey, hoo-wah, look at that. Skills. Recirculation. So that seems to be a unique skill that the recirculation saber has. Reduce option 10%. Reuse. Gain EX gauge and reduce option cooldown on close range something. Assumably close range enemy kill. And I can see those being two very solid starter skills. And I can see them being unique to the recirculation parts. If just so there's like a reason, well, not fully unique, but slave to the recirculation parts. So that would be like an incentive to use them as a pre-order bonus. And then attack power greatsword. That can't be a built-in. That's got to be the bottom of the list. Yeah, those both have to be at bottom of the list. Because why the hell would a saber from Wing have a greatsword attack power on it? You can even see the scroll bar is like way the hell down there. Greatsword melee, right close range weapon, right saber, right whip, lance axe, twin blade, blah blah blah, everything we saw before. Okay. You know, Sasabi looks pretty damn good. Like the effect on that saber. I like it. Now, unfortunately, we're about to run out of footage, I think. Because they're not going to give us a shields, never mind. Okay. Yep. Recirculate, reduce option cooldown, reuse, gain, blah blah blah. Now, I don't see a recirculation shield. That's interesting. Also, down there near the bottom of the list, the cruising mobile shield, that is chaos. One more thing that they accidentally revealed to us that was not on the Gunpla list. What we got here for shields? Long range gauge capacity, long range weapon, so I assume that's ammo. Long range gauge cost, long range weapon, I assume that's how much it costs per shot. And how much the reload is. HP capacity, HP enemies defeated, parts lost per second on hit. Flinch, 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 flinch. Damage reduced on card, physical beam. So that's a new skill. I guess while you're guarding, you can specifically take less damage from a certain source. You can boost that up higher. See what else we got here. Now what does that say? Gain EX gauge reduce option on shield, PI... On shield something. It's a vowel or a C? Like, clearly the first one is going to be close range hit or close range kill, close range weapon kill. But shield PI something. What action could you perform with a shield to gain yourself bonus stuff? I mean, pierce is a word that could fit there. It's kind of weird to have on a shield itself. Also, what the hell does shield piercing mean? Jot that one down for later, champ. Also, one more thing I have not touched upon that is super interesting. It makes sense for our level of our part to have a bar showing how much XP is in it before it hits next level, but rarity has a bar as well? So you could assumedly feed parts like items that slowly boost the rarity level, or as they're used, they might naturally gain XP to raise their own rarity? Tell me that is an interesting thought. You could eventually master a part if you just hang with it long enough. I enjoy that the 00 shield is the double-sided guitar one. That's neat. And unfortunately, I think that's the end of our secret footage. I still want to know what... Oh hey, the same part with two different parts of the same list. So that almost guarantees that recirculate is the base skill on the part that's there no matter what. And that reuse is just something else that you load onto it. What the hell is shield pie? I want to know what shield pie is. Gain EX charge or reduce op cooldown on shield pie. Or pick, or pio, pid, shield pigeon? You got me. But that more or less hits the end of all our relevant footage. From there, the rest of the trailer just says, here's your pre-order rewards. We have some more cosmetic and paint options, this time actually in English. Nothing terribly new here compared to what we saw in the closed network test, but it's just demonstrating how you can take option parts, or even in some cases parts, or builder's parts rather, and parts, and just move them appropriately. Different positions, different rotations, different sizes even. You can adjust the scale accordingly, just like you could in Breaker 3. A little spike right in the middle. Did you know that Spike actually has an EX skill? Or, sorry, not EX skill, an option part. That Spike actually has an option attack, which I have on my channel under the option video. It's the weirdest thing, and it's incredibly strange that you can put this wherever you feel like, and gain access to a new janky attack. Everyone gets a free upgrade. All physicals now become Launch Edition. We have the wonderful launch screen. That's a great shot. You're going to get so many good shots from this launch sequence. I already got a couple that Crash sent me that I've used for thumbnails, stuff like Helios, but it's just so nice. And the bundle that we already knew about. Absolutely nothing new and exciting there. But at least we have quite a bit new information, especially in regards to what weapon types we're going to have, possible skills, possible styles of inheritance, leveling processes. The 2 freedom backpacks intrigue me greatly. I cannot wait to see how that shakes out. I just read your guess, Potemkin. Good shit. Interesting, all of it. A little upset, disappointed, or confused that we don't seem to have any specific skills for modules. But perhaps that's just because they only run off of general melee or general right-left hand boosts. They're not a weapon type in themselves. I really hope modules make a comeback, because mobile fighters without throwing hands just don't feel right. I know the claw skill, the claw moveset was a huge favorite from people back in Breaker 3. There's even some wrestling ones with the fist moveset. I know doing suplexes and shit was something people really enjoyed, arm bars. I actually, a couple days ago, whipped up a stock H-Titus just to see how that played in Breaker 3, and it was kind of fun to throw people around. I'm hopeful. This whole look we have here at least gives me reassurance. Reassurance that it's going to have a solid foundation, that's going to be familiar, and that I still don't know what the hell injection option is. I'm going to say when this video goes up, as an actual VOD version, put your best guess in the comments. Humor me. Or make me laugh, either one. I'm going to be picking brains from this point on to try to figure it out. But until we get some more footage, or more information dropped, or God forbid another network test, I think this is just about it for me. Hopefully... Oh, what are modules? Hey, yo, what up? Sorry, I didn't want to ignore you. Modules are my shorthand for any kind of handheld weapon that's not an actual weapon, but more of a fighting style. Modules we had in Breaker Mobile is where my Breaker brain gets the term from. Was Fist Module, Claw Module, Martial Module. Some parts would default to those melee styles to begin with. Zagok and Zagok E would always have a claw moveset equipped. Mobile fighters would have a martial moveset equipped, and everything else defaulted to fist. But anything that's not like a handheld weapon and more of a fighting style is what I call a module. Whoa, what's happened to my bitrate? I just looked at the stream. Did it just start to do that? What's going on here? Yowza. That was weird. Well, maybe that's a sign. Maybe this is the universe trying to tell me that I've yapped on for too long. Hopefully, Crashman took some good notes, otherwise I'll go back through and make some notes myself. I really appreciate you guys being here with me. Be excellent to each other, and until we get some more news about Breaker, let's chew this, mull it over, throw some theories, and I'll jump right back in it as soon as we have something new to explore, something new to break down. Thank you for joining my Yap Fest. You've been great.